Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu Sharma and in this video we will be discussing on reactive programming in Java and try to understand it in a simplified way. So when we are saying reactive programming, there are a couple of terms comes to our mind. A publisher, a subscriber and back pressure. Publisher is the one who sends data. Subscriber is the system who is receiving data. And back pressure is a mechanism through which subscriber able to control the flow of data from publisher. So through back pressure, subscriber able to tell to the publisher to slow down the speed of data or to limit the amount of data since subscriber is not of as fast as publisher. Let's take an example of reading contents of a file and write to another file. So here we are performing two operations, reading a file and writing to another file. So let's break it down. So here reading contents of a file is a publisher operation and writing to another file is actually a subscriber operation. So subscriber is requesting data from publisher sending the data, and then subscriber is writing it to another file. Now let's say the reading content of a file operation have a speed of 100 words per minute, while write operation is slow and it have like 50 words per minute. Since consumption speed of subscriber is slower than the production speed of publisher, what subscriber can do is there are two options. First, it limits the amount of records getting from the publisher or reduce the speed of the publisher. And for both of these operations, subscriber needs a mechanism to communicate to publisher to either slow down or to limit the number of records, and then subscriber will request for further records once it's done with the one set of record. So these are the two approaches which subscriber use through its back pressure mechanism in order to limit the flow of data from the publisher end. Let's open IDE and create a new project. It will be a simple Java project. I'm using JDK 17. You can use any version above 9. Next, let's name it Reactive Java. Provide data location. Our project is ready. So let's start. We will be using Java Flow API. Let's get an overview of our Flow API. So this API got introduced in Java 9 and it provides us interfaces which will be helpful in implementing a reactive code. Over here we have a publisher interface which have one method subscribe, and this will get invoked whenever a subscription is being performed by a subscriber. Then we have a subscriber interface which comprises of four methods: on subscribe, on next, on error, on complete. On subscribe is the method that needs to be invoked prior to any other subscriber methods. So whenever the subscription is performed or finalized, this needs to be invoked. On next method is the one responsible to receive the data, and then you can perform the logic after overriding this method. On error is meant in case if there is any kind of error in the input stream of data. And on complete method is invoked when it is known that the no additional subscriber method invocation will occur. That means the data is complete and no more inflow is going to happen. Then we have a subscription interface. This is actually a linkage between your publisher and a subscriber. It have two methods, request and cancel. The request is responsible to let publisher know about the subscriber that how much amount of data subscriber want, or at how much speed. You can decide that, or you can configure that as per your need while overriding this method. Then the cancel method is for canceling the subscription and stop receiving the messages. And then we have a processor interface. It's a component that acts both as a subscriber as well as a publisher. So let's start and implement our reactive code. And for that, let's create a class content publisher. And publisher will implement the Flow API's publisher interface. We implement the methods. That's the only the subscribe. And then we will add another class content subscription. And this will implement subscription interface. And accordingly we will override. Now in subscribe method, we will invoke on subscribe method of subscriber. And in the request method, we will invoke on next method of subscriber to send data to subscriber. We will get back to this class. Now let's create our subscriber. Content subscriber, and this will implement the subscriber interface. Whenever a subscription happens, content subscriber will invoke subscribe method of content publisher, and in turn content publisher will invoke the onSubscribe method of content subscriber, and also providing it the content subscription. Once receiving the subscription, it will invoke the onRequest method of the subscription to get the inflow of data. Over here, when the request method is getting invoked, it will in turn invoke the onNext method of subscriber and send data to subscriber. Let's start implementing them. Here, we'll be creating a simple while loop which will send 10 messages with different IDs. So we need content subscriber. Okay, so since we need a reference of content subscriber, we create a variable over here and create a parameterized constructor. So, okay, so now whenever we are creating the content subscription object, we will be getting the content subscriber, and we can use that to invoke on next method. And here we will be sending message ID I plus 1, and then we say okay. So we are invoking the on next method and sending it 10 messages. And over here we need to invoke subscriber on subscribe method and providing it a subscription. And for that we need a subscriber. Okay. Okay, so we are good now. Now let's move on to our content subscriber, and over here we will be invoking the subscription, its request method, passing it a 0 because it doesn't matter, we are not considering that variable right now. And over here we simply print out what we are getting. Okay, so let's try to run this application. And for that, what we are going to do is we first create a content publisher object, and then we create a content subscriber object, and then we say content publisher dot subscribe content subscriber. Let's see. Yeah, so we are getting our messages. It's 10 records. So our subscription is working fine. But now we need to handle the back pressure. So how we are going to do that is we'll create a variable over here, and let's say amount of data. Okay, and let's create a constructor. Okay, let's fix the error over here since we are invoking it, and we say, let's say we need only 5 records. We don't want the 10 records, we want 5 records, and over here instead of ignoring the n, we will utilize this. You say n. So now whatever the value of n is, only that much amount of messages we will get. And let's get back to subscriber. Over here, while invoking the request, it will pass amount of data. So with this approach, let's run the application. So you can see we are only getting 5 messages at a time. So this is the first approach we discussed, that we are limiting the amount of records. Now the another approach is reducing the speed of records. And for that, let's update our publisher, and over here, instead of making it n, keep it as 10, and let's use our n over here and surround it with try catch, and that's it. Okay, so now what we are doing is we are saying that we will get 10 messages, but now the speed of the messages should be slow, and the speed is defined with this variable. So let's say I want it with 100 milliseconds of gap. So let's run now. And you see you get the 10 messages, but it feels like it's still fast. So let's make it 1000 millisecond. 1 second. And this is how you are controlling the flow. Now publisher is sending the message based upon the configuration defined in the subscriber. I hope you get the idea of publisher, subscriber, and the back pressure, and how all these three are interrelated. Just to revisit one last time, we have a publisher which invoke on subscribe method of the subscriber and passing it the content subscription. Inside the content subscription, we are using the while loop to send messages to the subscriber, and based on the configuration provided by the subscriber, we are delaying the frequency of messages. In the subscriber end, whenever the subscription is performed, onSubscribe got invoked, and in turn it will invoke the request method of the subscription. And in the onNext method, we are processing the incoming messages by printing them out in the console. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. That's all in this video. If you have any suggestions or feedback, just let me know on comment section. Thank you.